Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in, and thanks for taking the time to comment and help with those comments. And you give us all kinds of information, and I am very grateful for that information, because so many times it was just what we needed to know. And the problem is that a lot of the suggestions that we make are based on being very narrowly aware of what our situation is, and perhaps that is our fault. And yet I feel that we have showed by our videos just how hectic our life really is. Now, I don't have any complaints about this. I love what we do, and tell you the truth, when people urge us to take a day off and then we do something where we have to stay at home, like I think it was yesterday, it rained so relentlessly and torrentially that we just didn't feel that we could make it down the road. So even with four-wheel drive, and so we stayed at home, and quite honestly we were suffering cabin fever by the end of the day, and would love to have gone down and driven down there even in the dark, but common sense prevailed, so we didn't. Well, I just need to try to get over what we've done in the last 2 weeks. Just look at what's been happening in the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks we built 2 houses. Now, did I lay a hand on any of those houses? No, I didn't. But there is so much to do behind the scenes on building a house, going to see people, finding out how we're going to do it, the logistics of getting materials. Out here, if a company says we'll deliver it this afternoon, it means that they might possibly get to deliver it the morning after tomorrow. And that's just a fact of life. It's not a complaint. It's the way that things are here. Life gets in the way of doing all kinds of things in their correct order. Trucks break down. Oh, how did I know that? Appointments are broken. Appointments are not kept, and agreements are not kept. And everybody is kind of like doing what they can. And not everybody who runs a hardware store, or what you and I might call a builder's merchant, not everybody has a truck that can do four-wheel drive. Like we showed, one of the trucks that came up and made a delivery, they made it as far as they possibly could, which still left us with about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, to get several cubic yards or meters, several cubic meters of sand and ballast up to the house. So you see, it's quite difficult. That meant that we had to bag the material and put it onto our truck and take it up there. So it's not easy. And then, of course, the guys who delivered it, and in the best spirit, they did deliver it, drop it. Sometimes that means that they dig it out of the back of the truck, not drop it on a dump truck. So, and then they got stuck, and they slid sideways to the edge of what was passing as our path, and got really stuck. And that's happened twice now with quite big trucks, 3 and 4 ton trucks. And the last one said to Beth with some passion, "I will never, ever, ever deliver here again." I'm not quite sure whether he meant it. Perhaps he was just joking. But anyway, I don't think we've seen that particular one again. We suffer this all the time, as you know if you've looked at the videos. Now, so it brings us to the comments that are made with suggestions. In another frame of reference, another time, another place, would be actually solid gold. And here, we just don't have the time to do so many things. About 9 months ago, I was thinking to myself, oh gosh, this is about the time that Stephen from Hong Kong came with his beautiful drone, and he flew the drone. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, we could do so much, we could film so much, we could really do some great things with that. And then John Garcia from Manila, lo and behold, on our doorstep arrives a drone. Now, it was the smaller, lighter version. I always think of the one that Stephen has, Stephen of Hong Kong. He has one that looks like the Starship Enterprise, and ours is not like that. But ours is good because, mine is good because it has a camera all built in. And guess what? Just for safekeeping, because cats like to play with things that look unusual, and they're likely to destroy it. So I have a built-in cover under my my love seat, so I put the drone in there for safekeeping, and I haven't seen it since, because we just don't have the time. So I hope this explains why some of the suggestions that you make, which are based in solid experience and expertise, don't get done. We built 2 houses this year, 2 houses. That means scouting them out, finding whether it's possible to build where they are, what the logistics are, whether it's a 4x4 job to get the materials to the site, whether we can get the hardware store to make the delivery, whether we can find the right wood, whether we can find the chainsaw crew who will come in and do the chainsaw job that they are so expert at, and that's how normally we would get our wood. And where are we going to get that? Well, you have seen in the last video, you'll have seen that we went high into the mountains and did 3 trips to get the wood just for the terrible house. And that's just one job. And that's all of the toll that it takes on Beth and I and on the truck, because it's very, very hard going. Every time we go up into the mountains, those roads are a very poor excuse for a road, and we do what we can on those. Tires, suspension, everything comes in for a real beating, and that's before we even get there and start loading up. Now, we can't always get people to help us with the loading up, and so sometimes we have to do it ourselves. And when I broke down today in the Big Blue, we had 20 bags of cement in for our job of the concreting that we're going to have in our road here. 20 bags of cement. It was never going to make it with 20 bags of cement and 4 adults in there. So, has to be unloaded. Now they're 50 or 60 pound bags of cement. That is from a time long ago for me to lift 50-pound bags of cement. So I look around and not one blade of grass moves to help me. Is Beth going to help me to move 50 and 60-pound bag? No, she's not. That's not her expertise, and I'm not going to have her injured to do that. So I have to do it myself. It doesn't make me a hero, just makes me there and have to do what has to be done. And that's our life. We do what we can with what we have. Now, on top of this little tiny bit of bad news, which is how I see it all, breakdown of trucks, you beat the hell out of trucks and they're going to break down. It's just as simple as that, and you don't have to be a mechanic to know it, right? But all of the other stuff that's happening that has come through being, I mean, out of the blue, this company in the UK have heard of us and said, we like what you're doing, Bakiko, and we'd like to help. And it seems to us that a cement mixer but would save those guys from breaking their backs. Great. And they asked us to get a price, and that's what we did. And now we have a cement mixer, and life is going to be a lot easier. So, that's where we are on the comments. Please don't ever think that we don't appreciate the comments. Our old friend Psychosoft said, I told you this a long time ago about that engines from other cars, there are certain engines from certain other cars that will apparently fit right into the Little Blue and make it a super truck. And I'm sure that it would. A good beefy little engine that's made for doing a much more expensive job than the Little Red. I'm sure it would be great. We don't have the finances to do that, and we're not complaining about being hard up, because actually we're not. We're doing fine, we're doing okay, and we don't want for anything, partly because of the pensions that I have, partly because of what what we earn from our YouTube channel and our GoFundMe. Actually, our GoFundMe goes to GoFunding somebody else, because if somebody comes up that road early in the morning, which is when people come for help, when people are desperate and they can't turn anywhere else, then a lot of the time they come to us, and we do what we can, and with a limited resource we give from our sorry, not from our GoFundMe, but from our Patreon account. We have a Patreon account, and we give from that, and that is people who have given $100 a month, some have given $20 a month, some have given $1 a month, and we appreciate all of that, and the people that we help with those appreciate it too. If a man comes, as it happened a little while ago, man came, he needed help with fertilizing his crop, and he wouldn't be able to do it without that fertilizer to do a rice harvest, and we were able, well, back then it was Tracy was here, and he fronted the money so that the man could get his harvest underway. See, and that was another early morning audience, if you like. So they come and they need help, and we try and give it, and we give it from what we've got, and that's what we do with everything. It may well be that a new engine would go just great into the Little Red, and wouldn't it be really great if that happened? But unfortunately it's not going to happen. We just paid out, I think it was, not quite sure, I think it was about 12,000. Now, we're overwhelmed with the generosity of people. 4,000 of that was paid on the spot by Darryl, and he was here visiting, a tremendous supporter of ours. He comes around and he looks at the jobs that we do, he looks at the projects, he knows what we do, he knows what's right and what's wrong and what's true and what's false, and he helped us on the truck. See, so, but we do what we can with what we've got, and if it comes to the point where we cannot afford to fix the Little Red, we'll have it towed up to somewhere where it's safe, and it will stay that way until we can afford to fix it. So we have our motorcycle, which is now, if you like, on permanent loan to the church, so that Pastor Timio can do his errands, and he can go and he can counsel people. In fact, that's how we found our very first people that we needed to help. So thanks for listening. This is a foreigner in the Philippines, and it's all about the comments and the help that we can and can't use. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.